Salt is an omnipresent condiment without which all our meals are incomplete and without which our food tastes bland and unappealing. There are a lot of public messages to limit salt and we may be confused, although it's an essential part of our meals. There's way lot of information on salt than meets our eye. However, there are many different types of salt and all are not made in the same way. Read on to know more. What is salt? Salt mines. Most of the salt are produced by harvesting from salt mines, that's by evaporating seawater and other mineral-rich waters. Salt can also be called as sodium chloride, with 40% of it being from sodium and 60% contributes to chloride. They flavor our food and also used as a binder and stabilizer. They can also be used as a food preservative where bacteria can't survive, and that's why most vegetables and fruits are preserved in this manner with salt. Preserved fruits with salt in jar. Function of salt in our body. They conduct nerve impulses, for muscle contraction, and electrolyte balance and hydration. Help with thyroid function, which plays a major role in our metabolism. Iodine is necessary for thyroid hormones, and since salt can be iodized, helps with thyroid function. Inadequate amount of sodium can also lead to low pressure or hypotension. Blood pressure monitor. Although salt is required to conduct all the function, yet we need to monitor our salt or sodium intake, as it may lead to a host of other health problems like high blood pressure or hypertension, can damage the kidneys, heart valves, and bad for bones too. Table salt. 1. Table salt. This is the most heavily ground salt with most of its impurity and trace minerals removed. They can be iodized, as iodine is necessary for thyroid function, or it may lead to hypothyroidism, as it is common in most parts of the world. 2. Sea salt. Sea salt. A term used for salt produced by evaporation of saltwater lakes or seawater. It is less processed than table salt and therefore retains trace element of minerals added to food for flavor. Sea salt is promoted to be more healthier, although the nutritional value is the same and only comparable with sodium by weight. However, they may contain trace elements of potassium, zinc, and iron depending on where it was harvested. The slight difference or uneven distribution in their color is due to the presence of trace amounts of impurities and minerals. However, due to the impurities, they may have traces of lead too. 3. Kosher salt. Kosher salt. Due to their flaky structure, they are used for koshering process by the Jews by law, as they have to extract blood from meat before being eaten and used to season chops and steaks. Although they have a difference in their texture and flavor, once dissolved there is not much of a difference between table salt. However, it is less likely to find any additives added like anti-caking properties nor iodine. The level of sodium in kosher salt may be far lesser than the table salt, and it is not advisable to be interchanged because the food might taste either salty or too bland. 4. Pink Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt is mined in Pakistan, and due to the presence of trace amounts of iron oxide, the pink color. They have small amounts of calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron, with a slightly lower level of sodium and less processed. The only difference is the color, which might make the dish appealing and mostly added to meat and fish dishes. 5. Celtic salt. Celtic salt is a type of salt most commonly used in France. It has a gray tinge to it and quite moist due to the presence of water. However, the sodium level is slightly lower in comparison with table salt. Remember that large coarse granules are harder to dissolve but offer a burst of flavor. They may not be suitable for baking purposes, and it must be remembered that you can't interchange the measurement for different types of salt due to their sodium levels, and bigger the size, more stronger their flavor. The main difference between the different types of salts are basically in their texture, flavor, color, and convenience. They contain only trace amount of minerals, and therefore choosing one salt over will unlikely have any health benefits. There are not many studies done on the different types of salt except that they contain sodium and chloride and the presence of trace elements of minerals. The only option will be to choose salt that's less processed and not having any added additives like anti-caking properties. Bottom line. Most of us are still using more salt than the recommended levels. High level of salt can raise blood pressure and lead to other significant health risks. By reducing salt in our meals, we can have better health outcomes. The basic steps to reduce your salt intake will be reducing added salt while cooking, while at the table, abstain from salted food and preserved fruits and vegetables. Salt is an omnipresent condiment without which all our meals